ChatGPT Canvas, a new feature that greatly boosts productivity in writing and coding with live document editing and targeting or inline editing and revising. Let's dive in today with 3 use case demos. Don't forget to give us likes, leave your comments, share us to your friends, and also subscribe to our channels. We have YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook. So OpenAI has released a new feature on its ChatGPT product, and this is called ChatGPT with Canvas. You can actually visit its website to read about it here, but when you actually use ChatGPT and you can correctly trigger this feature, what you will see on one of the panels is kind of like a live text document that allows you to code and write in terms of editing and revisioning this kind of work. So it's kind of like similar to the workbench idea from Anthropic products a few months back, but now it has arrived as named Canvas for ChatGPT. And this is going to be what we are focusing on for the first topic. So for a quick summary, this tool is actually for work that needs editing and revising. And this tool will actually help this kind of works in terms of it allows the model to understand the context better, allows the model to edit a specific section of the writing document or the code. So it's target editing. It allows the model to make suggestion inline as well. And it's actually commonly used. You can use it for most of the editing tasks out that you will need, and therefore the main 2 types of application is writing and coding. So how it works is when you choose the model ChatGPT with a Canvas, the ChatGPT will try to detect if it needs to open a Canvas panel or not. So there is a chance that it fails to do that. But from OpenAI website, it claims to have an accuracy of about 80 to 90% of that kind of true correct detection. If it doesn't happen, sometimes ChatGPT fails to recognize that it needs to open the canvas. You can explicitly tell it to do so by use Canvas in your prompt. And this will force ChatGPT to trigger the Canvas panel. Right now, it's available in beta only, but OpenAI promises that this tool will be available for free when this is out of beta. So, as I mentioned, the first commonly used task is writing, and this tool will help in terms of adding, suggest some edit inline or also feedback from the live document in the Canvas as well. It has some buttons that you will actually see on the right hand side corner right there. Allows you to adjust the length of the document as well as adjust the difficulty of reading. This is the button I'm talking about. And it also has a button that will do the final polish, like correcting for grammar, increasing clarity and consistencies. And sometimes you want to add emoji as well, and it has a capability to do so. These are commonly used editing features that the Canvas allow you to do kind of intuitively and quickly. So let's actually go play with the Canvas right now. So you just go to your ChatGPT as you normally do, and here is my ChatGPT. And in order to do so, to choose the canvas, you need to pick it from this option over here. So let's try writing task. The first one that we'll be doing is maybe I would like to write a blog. So help me write a blog that compares, I would say, like predictive AI and generative AI. So again, I have chosen the model 4.0 with the canvas, and when I click this, hopefully it can detect that it needs to trigger the canvas feature. Right, so it correctly triggered the canvas feature, and the right-hand side panel pops up, and this is going to be a living document. During this session, allow us and the model to understand that it needs to correct something here rather than generating a new response. So in order to be illustrative, I would just use the same prompt here, but open another ChatGPT session, but I'm not going to choose the canvas. I'm going to choose just the normal one that we usually use. So when you hit that, what you see here is you will get a text bubble for response back from the ChatGPT. And if you're happy with it, fine, this is great. But if you're not happy, what you need to do next is you type in the this text bubble, text input box, and then you hit run again. And what is going to happen is ChatGPT is not going to come to correct this chunk. It's going to rewrite a new thing. And this is inconvenient, right? In terms of editing and revising some draft. It's not the way that it should be. And this is the way it should be because, so the first thing that we mentioned is suggest, edit, inline, and feedback, right? For example, I can select this part of the text. I can say that make the title more catchy. Here we go. So because I select the part, GPT knows that it needs to focus on that part and fix it rather than fixing the whole thing or rewriting the whole thing, right? So this is one of the good feature. The second one is going to be this button here. Actually, it allows you to do some quick editing. This one adds emoji. This one add a final polish for the whole thing. This is adjusting reading level. This is adjusting length, and this is suggest edit, right? So let me just hit this button, and I want to see what is going to happen. So I just click suggest edit. Now it's highlighting parts that it thinks that it can improve. And this is going to be its suggestion, right? So let's take a look a little bit here. This section is about what is predictive AI. Predictive AI is all about making informed guesses about the future based on existing data. Think of it as a crystal ball for businesses. This is not very technical, but sure, fine. Though is instead of magic, it uses advanced algorithm and analysis. Now, this is a suggest edit part. Predictive AI processes historical information and looks for patterns to forecast outcomes. And this is its suggestion. You could enhance this by briefly mention a specific type of algorithm commonly used in predictive AI, such as regression, analysis, and machine learning. I think this is great suggestion. I can click apply. I did click. Now it's applying the action that I commanded to do so. So yeah, this is suggest edits. Now let's try reading difficulties. At the bottom you have kindergarten versions, and at the top is graduate school. So let's try the graduate school first, and we'll see how it goes. Now I think it needs to rewrite the whole thing. You know, like the whole thing was written at some level of difficulty. Now we up it to a next level, and therefore it will apply that whole thing to the whole paragraph. That's why it's rewriting everything. So let's come back to this paragraph. What is predictive AI? Predictive AI is focuses on making data-driven inferences about future outcomes by leveraging existing datasets. Now you can see kind of like vocabulary is upgraded to be more sophisticated and more technical. Now, another option for editing is the length. So you have options to shorten it or making it longer. So I chose to make it longer, and it looks like it's a little bit longer, and you can read through it, right? Here we go. Key differences, generative AI, complementary relationship. Yes. So yeah, it's much longer than before. And what else do we have? We did that. We add emoji. This is going to apply for the whole paragraph. For the whole blog. So let's just take a look at it. Like now emojis appear almost everywhere. This could be desirable for some applications, maybe like a social media post, but for a relatively formal blog post, at least in my style, this is not what I want. So if you apply some edits and it appears that you don't like it, you have an option to go back to a previous version. And to do that is very quickly. It's just a button over here, previous versions. You can also have show changes that highlight what has been changed more, of course, and in color. So it's gotta like really help a little bit. Okay, so I don't want the version with the emoji, so I am going to click previous version. But what I want you to notice before I click that is that whatever action that you clicked, ChatGPT will verbose it out right here. But now if I go back to the previous version, I'm going to click it right here and notice on the left hand side that nothing happened. So when you go back to the previous version, the chat history wasn't updated. I'm not sure whether it has any implication or not, but this is one thing that I noticed. All right. So all in all, we have what is predictive AI, what is generative AI, and then key differences, complementary relationships. This is great, but maybe I want to add another discussion topics, like in terms of the timeline. So what I can still do in terms of adding or editing here instead of picking from the panel is I can just type, right? I want to add a section that discusses about the timeline of AI development so that we know when predictive AI was dominant and when generative AI has become the recent buzz. Okay, so you can always suggest changes in the chat session on the left hand side, but it will be less targeted, right? So yeah, right now the timeline appears at the first section, which I might not like that at all. So yeah, you can again, once it finishes doing its thing, you can try to say that okay, you want the timeline to be in later section. You can try to type it again, or maybe I try here. Okay, I want the timeline section to be after just before the conclusion. Here we go. What is it going to do? I bet it's going to rewrite everything because it needs to shuffle the flow. Did it? Oh well, I think it's kind of messed up. Nothing has changed, but it has said that it's moved timeline of AI development section to just before the conclusion. So again, what I did, I select this guy and I said move the timeline of AI development to before the conclusion. So my guess is that because I select this part of the text, now it just focuses on this particular section. Maybe I would just try it again. Move the timeline section to just before the conclusion. Now, so you can see that you probably need to be more careful of what you select. If you want to rearrange things, you might not want to reselect that. You might want to apply it to the chat box so that it kind of know the whole context and readjust the whole thing for you better. And yeah, this is how you use Canvas for writing blogs. Let me show you another application. Here we go. This is the always, right? So yeah, if you want to change anything, you cannot select it. You can't do anything. Oh, actually, one thing that I want to show you is the canvas allows you to type. You can manually type it in right here. So let's buckle up and join me. You can do that. You can always manual editing it, right? Next one that I want to show you is going to be about using the canvas to help write a poem. So let me just bring my notes here. Write a poem about cat and dog chasing a mouse under a sakura tree in a lightly snowy day. And just want to make sure that I want to use a canvas. I can say use canvas. Okay. Right. Sorry. It was an incomplete prompt. Okay. Here we go. Now the canvas got triggered and a poem was written. So let's say that we want shorter. Well, like this is like what, 5 stanzas? Too many for this generation. So I want it shorter. What is it going to do? 3. Not bad. I want it to be much shorter. I think you can try to reduce it as much as you can. Again, you can increase the complexity of your language. And here we go. Add emojis, maybe. Let's do the final polish. So the final polish is just going to go through from top to bottom and improve things. And now, I think at the back of the code here, in terms of improving things, it actually looks at the whole context and trying to improve. Just for a finish, maybe back to the previous example where we are writing blog about predictive AI and generative AI. I can do the final polish here as well. And it's going to be significantly improved piece of work. All right, that's not much there, right? Okay, what else you can do with this canvas? What you can do is actually, you can use it for writing. If you still need to respond to an email to a very, very important person for your company, you probably need to do it manually, right? And a canvas actually is a great place for you to use ChatGPT as an assistant to write, and you can add a final touch in the canvas. So you can actually do that. Actually, let me just try to see if I can. Well, okay, maybe I'll skip this example. But what you can see, okay, let me try to find what I have done. So I actually prepared a message conversation. That's the case. You know what? Here we go. Okay, let me show you what this is about. So assuming that you have email back and forth of someone, right? In this case, we have got an email from a customer to our salesperson. Subject is special coffee bean inquiry. Hey, do you have a blue satin bean from Guatemala or what? Let me know. This is kind of like, Gen Z language, I think. And then, assuming that your store doesn't have that, so your salesperson responds back with, thanks so much for reaching out. I'm afraid we currently don't have that. It's rare. And if you're interested, we'd love to suggest some other beans for you. Let me know. And then the customer respond back with, so you don't have it. What's even the point? What else you got then? So if you want to write a response email with the canvas, what you can do here is you can give the communication history as a context and ask the ChatGPT Canvas to help you. All right, so here we go. We are going to actually attach that correspondence to the ChatGPT for all with the canvas, and then you would just say, help me write a response email to the customer the tone must be empathetic. Okay, here we go. So yeah, you can prepare the correspondences as a file, attach it to, upload it and write the prompt. And what you have noticed here is that the canvas, even though we are in the canvas mode, it didn't get triggered. You have two options. You can come here and edit. You say use canvas. I think it will work, but maybe another method here is to regenerate with canvas. Still doesn't do it. So in this case, it's kind of failed. So for a backup, you can say use canvas in your prompt, and it should know that now. Open canvas, and here is the suggested email to respond to a kind of like angry Gen Z customer. Hi A, I totally get your frustration. The blue satin bean is really something special. It's disappointing when it's not available. We are always working to source unique beans like that, but sometimes it's tough to get our hands on. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you find something else you love based on your interest. We can recommend this, right? Both have complex flavor profiles. If that I think it surprises you, could surprise you, would you like me to send over more details? And I can happily say that close with a 10% discount to appease him. Okay, you can do that, right? Select the part you want, and then you can add information, or you can do this. Oh, it hasn't finished doing its thing yet. So what I want to do next is, this is hard to read. I want to reformat to bullet point for easy to read. Each beans also cost $50 per bag, and each bag is 200 grams. So you can always select a part that you want to change and specify what change you need, and I think it will try to meet your expectations. Here we go. Well, add more detail. Use your own knowledge. Not sure if it's going to work, but let's see if it knows how. Here we go. So that was surprising. I specified only one of them, but GPT did for both of the beans. So yeah, you can help. You can now use ChatGPT to help craft emails for your very, 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 very important person or customers. Okay. Now I have shown you three use cases for using ChatGPT for with a canvas for writing tasks like a blog, a poem. Who does it anymore? I don't know. And eventually a email response. Now let's go back to this one. The second category of task that the canvas can help is coding. Again, it will help you suggest and fix code. It can review the code for you. It can add logs, add comments, fix some bugs, correcting itself, and even change the programming language. Maybe you are writing this, or you get some code from someone in C++ and you want to port it over to Python. It can do that too. So let's actually go explore what we can do with that. So for this demo, I am going to use the prompt that I have used so that it's kind of consistent. So here is my prompt. I want a ChatGPT-4 with a canvas to help me write codes that will help me do machine learning problems. So here is my prompt. Acting as a senior data scientist and expert in Python programmer, expert Python programmer, you'll write the Python code meant to be used in Jupyter Notebook. The code will train classical machine learning models on a given dataset whose data is contained in a file called data.csv. The machine learning problem can be either classification or regression. You attempt to detect that yourself. If you're not sure which, you ask the user for confirmation. You will run necessary standard data pre-processing as needed. If you do, you need to let the user know. For example, if you decided to fill NA with mean value, you inform the user. You will suitably do train test split or careful cross-validation. You inform the user of the option you choose. You will train, evaluate, and compare several models. Make sure you use sklearn. This is nothing fancy. It's just very detailed prompting of describing what I want to do. And to make sure that the canvas got tick trigger, I will just add use canvas at the end of the prompt here. And here we go. The magic is now happening. ChatGPT 4 is doing its task, writing code for me in a very detailed manner. Okay, that's a lot of things. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is add comments. You can add comments. So by adding comments, you can come here to a shortcut over here, and you can have this one, add comments, add logs, fix bugs, port to languages, and code review. So let's try this one, add comments, so that we know what is going on here. Here we go. Now you can see that it's going through lines by section, adding comments as it should have done before. I think at the back, it could be just agentic workflow in terms of, like, reviewing AI reviewing itself, but I can be wrong. And you can also see changes, what happened in the code right here. Here we go. So many things here. So, okay, let's spend some time going through the part of the code so we know what is going on here. This is importing, nothing fancy here. Data got uploaded there. Now this one is checking for missing values. Then if it has anything there, it will print out this missing value detected, imputing missing values with mean for numerical columns and most frequent for categorical columns. So this is, I don't want to say standard procedure, but this is what most people would do. And maybe it's not the right thing, like the missing value can mean something, and replacing a mean value for a missing value can be a wrong thing. So yeah, this is what most people do, but doesn't mean that it's completely correct. Anyway, so you go on with this. So there will be some pre-processing here. It's going through column by column and do some kind of like fit transform for numerical. This is numeric features and categorical features. Now this is going to be separating the X, which is the input to the model, and the Y, which is going to be the target or the ground truth value. And then it's going to be doing trying to classify whether this problem is a classification problem or a regression problem. And then it's going to split the data, one for training and the other one for testing. And this is very, very important. Okay, anyone who knows anything about doing a proper machine learning will need to have this step at least thought through and done correctly. Now, this is more manipulation, like pre-processing. You want to scale it, so you don't want some if I can borrow neural network languages, you don't want some values, some axes to be elongated. You want kind of like normalized ball shape kind of thing, so that all the learning can be done easily. You don't want vanishing gradient or exploding gradient or whatsoever there. And this is about the models. Because we asked it to use several models, to train some models and compare the performance. This is what the model suggested. See, long logistic regression here, we use logistic regression from sklearn module, decision tree, random forest, and support vector machine or classification, and so on here. So these are models that is going to go through in the train evaluation process. And as you can definitely see here, it's going through the model, fit the model, use the model that has been trained, predict the value, and then calculate performance. Now, in terms of accuracy, accuracy only for the classification and the mean square value for the regression. All right, there's so many things that you can improve here, right? For example, let's focus on the decision tree. This is like, creating an default decision tree. No parameters of how the decision tree is constructed, how many depth, how many leaves. So this is like a very crappy version. Random forest as well. So what I can do here is I can suggest the model add model variations in terms of hyperparameters. For examples, this forest classifier can be configured with number of trees, node depth, etc. Also add more types of models. Here we go. Let's see what's going to happen. Now it's kind of like trying to rewrite everything. Eventually gets to the important section here. Here we go. So now decision trees kind of like do two things. Max depth none. This is going to overfit as hell. But okay, I'm not going to be pedantic about this just yet. And I have a good reason for it. Maybe I just state the reason right now. So with all the help that you can get from ChatGPT, right, you will get something like this. It just doesn't know enough about the craft yet. So eventually, this is my view of the world. AI engineer or AI scientist or data scientist who actually become a craftsman, who actually knows how to actually train the model well, just beyond what the ChatGPT can do right now. So this is actually what I train my my team members as well, asking them to be the best of data scientists, being the craftsman of machine learning and AI. So yeah, now back to what we have at hand here is we have varieties of models and their variations. So what we can do next is I want it to be better at this. I want it to, right now it's not in a config file. Think about this, maybe you want the model to be in a config file where a scientist, data scientist can just config those files rather than come here and play with this code. So I will ask it again as a bubble right here. We write it so that it is like a config file. Let's see how it's going to change. Everything else above that looks entirely untouched. Here we go. This is more like it, right? Config file, in Python dictionary, roughly JSON format, that you can save it somewhere else and import over. So, okay, I am not going to change more of this. So we have this, right? Variation, aggregate performance. So actually, we are at the stage where we can try. I will copy this code, the entire code here, start my notebook version 2, paste my code there, and select a kernel. And this kernel is, I think, a Canvas. So what we did, we copy and paste the whole thing, and I am going to try to run this. Okay, now it's ongoing. That's finished. All the models have been processed. Look at that. Detected problem classification. Oh, by the way, the data that we have is the iris data, which is classifying some kind of leaves or flowers based on their measurements of petals, length, depth, and so on. So this is kind of like a basic toy data set for classical machine learning. So here we go. It's a classification problem, correct? The data has been split into 80 for train and 20 for for test. So this is good. Features have been standardized, logistic regression, accuracy, this much, classification report. Now, what I can see here is getting difficult to read, right? I want the comparison to be done in a table so I can actually quickly see everything. So to fix that, this is where the evaluation output part is. I want the comparison of model performances to be in pandas table. Not sure. Oh, it has already import panda, so it should be fine. Let's hope it's doing the right thing. Now it's going through all the codes, all the lines, one by one. What I'm curious right now is how many tokens have you consumed? But you know, with ChatGPT interface, I have no way to actually know that. It's getting slow. We must be patient. Here we go. So let's see what has been changed. The top part is clear, but only the bottom part here, right? So I can copy the whole thing, come to the Jupyter notebook, delete the whole thing, paste the new one, and run again. Data frame has no append. The error has happened in line result df over here. This is bad. So now it has bugs, right? So let me just retry it again. Make sure that I didn't just poorly copy it over. So I'm copying the whole thing, pasting, and running. So now we found a bug, gladly. So what we can try to do here is fake bugs. I'm wondering if it will catch itself. Trying to fix some bugs. For what it's worth, I think this is a great tool, and I have found myself using this canvas to do Python coding for mocking up data. I can type in and add my condition in the code or add my additional criteria on the left hand side here. Here we go. Here, I have reviewed and fixed a potential box. Specifically, I replaced depreciated data frame append with panda concat. So is this the part that is fixed? So I am going to just copy this. Sorry. Here we go. I think this is where the bug we encountered. So let me just copy this part, and I think it's over here. I want to keep the comment. Now, here we go. Try to run it again. There we go, guys. It can correct itself, at least 5 bugs on its own, and correct itself. And this is the result. I can see that roughly for a very quick and dirty classification model, I can go with support vector machine. Right. Now, the question really is, can I trust this guy at all? At this point in time, I still don't, because the hyperparameters of all these models hasn't actually been explored properly. So that actually got me thinking, which I haven't tried this before. I want you to be more thorough at hyperparameter tuning of all the models. You may use grid search, maybe, from sklearn. Let's see what it's going to do. Grid search is like if you have, let's say, 2 hyperparameters for a particular model, and one of the hyperparameter you want to sample 3 values, and the second one you want to sample 2 values. What you do is a grid, and then you end up exploring 6 3 by 2 or 6 combinations. So it's not the best. It's actually a brute force approach to do that, and might not be the best way forward here. So seems like for that grid search thing, it has changed. It moved the code to, yes, the C parameter. That's correct. If you are a machine learning or this data scientist, this is correct. It's the way to do it. And then it's going to apply grid search over here. All right. So I suspect that there will be some bugs here, but let's give it a go anyway. Oh, looks like it's doing fine. Now it's doing grid search. It's taking some time. But the outcome of this exercise is not the point. The point is for you to actually see the power of ChatGPT Canvas. And I actually encourage my team members to actually use this in their code. While we are, if they are too lazy to just use anything else. All right, and that's actually the end of the first topic. Again, ChatGPT Canvas is a very powerful tool, and I think you should use it.